Mojn! Welcome to the channel Tech and Eyes. Today I'd like to do a quick comparison between Samsung's Z Fold 5 here and Samsung's Z Fold 4 here. Let's get started! Now I'm gonna do a quick speed test between two devices. This is the Samsung Z Fold 4 and this is the Z Fold 5. And I've got no apps open on any of the phones and they're both connected to the same Wi-Fi. Start off with the game. I think they looked actually rather identical there. YouTube. Was a bit faster there. On the Z Fold 5. eBay. Maybe a bit faster on the 5. Chrome. Okay, let's go to Apple's webpage. 1, 2, 3. Actually, I think it was a bit faster on the Z Fold 4 this time. Let's go to Instagram. About the same. Let's load an article. Maybe a bit faster on the Z Fold 5. Let's open Netflix. About the same. Now let's try moving back into apps and see if any of them reload. Start with the game. Almost a reload here on the 4, but it held up. Let's go to Netflix. Held up. Article. Held up. Instagram. Held up. YouTube. Held up. eBay. Held up. What do you guys think? I think the phones perform about the same when it comes to opening and closing apps. They also both come with 12 gigabytes of RAM. So that also means they're both pretty good at handling RAM management. So yeah, in day-to-day use, I don't really think you're gonna notice that much of a difference when it comes to navigating the phone. They're both smooth as butter. However, I have noticed that the Z Fold 5 actually runs smoother for long periods of time than the Z Fold 4. I do sometimes experience some hiccups when opening and closing apps on the Z Fold 4, and I have yet to experience that on the Z Fold 5. So this phone is smooth all the time, whereas this has some stutters here and there. These phones are both some very premium devices, and yeah, you can just see it when you're looking at them, and they feel very premium in the hand. But the Z Fold 5 is actually around 10 grams lighter than the Z Fold 4, and when I'm holding them like this, I can actually feel a bit of a difference in the Z Fold 5, but I don't know if I would have noticed it if I hadn't known that beforehand. I got the Z Fold 5 in an exclusive color, so it comes with this matte sides instead of the glossy ones that we see here on the Z Fold 4. But yeah, they look very similar, and I almost think they got around the same width here. The camera bumps on the Z Fold 5 I think is a bit, oh yeah, they're definitely bigger on the Z Fold 5 compared to the Z Fold 4. But one thing where there really is a huge difference between the 4 and the 5 is in the hinge mechanism. The Z Fold 5 shot completely flat here, or almost completely flat, whereas there is this gap here in the Z Fold 4, and that also means that the phone is more prone to getting dust particles to the inner display than the Z Fold 5 is. Whenever I'm holding the phone and using the cover display, I also feel like it's a bit more to the side on the Z Fold 4 compared to on the Z Fold 5 because of this gap here. That means that the cover display isn't shot completely flat against the other side of the screen here, so it gives it a bit of a turn to the right side, whereas in this it's just completely flat and it feels like every other slab phone out there. They're built pretty much the same and feels pretty much the same in the hands, except for the weight and of course this new hinge mechanism. This also means that when you open the Z Fold 4, you can hear this sound, this creaking sound whenever you're opening the phone or closing it. Whereas on the Z Fold 5, you don't really hear that sound at all. So I think, I don't know, it just makes me feel more safe using the Z Fold 5 than the Z Fold 4. I remember when I got the Z Fold 4 initially, I actually thought it was a bug or it's got some dirt inside the hinge or something like that, but it's actually just normal for the hinge on the Z Fold 5 to make this cracking sound whenever you are opening or closing the phone. But yeah, when you're looking at the inside screens here, they also pretty similar because they got the exact same aspect ratio. Samsung didn't really change that much this year when it comes to the aspect ratios. The outer displays are also the same aspect ratio. I do think that, I don't know if you can see it here on the camera, but I actually do think that the crease in the middle of the screen is a bit less noticeable on the Z Fold 5 compared to the Z Fold 4. And when I'm swiping the phone, I actually also feel like this crease doesn't go, I don't know, it's not as deep on the Z Fold 5 as it is here on the Z Fold 4. Now, when it comes to the screens, there isn't that much of a difference between the two, as you can see here, but the Z Fold 5 does have a peak brightness of 1750 nits compared to the 1200 nits on the Z Fold 4. And I actually think it's very noticeable when you're outside in bright daylight. It's much easier to see the screen on the Z Fold 5 compared to the Z Fold 4. So for me, that's a very big improvement, but otherwise, you know, it's almost the same. Both got 120 Hz screen. The Z Fold 5 does have Gorilla Glass Victus 2 instead of Gorilla Glass Victus Plus on the Z Fold 4. So it should be more resistant to scratches and stuff like that. I've yet to see if that's true or not. They got the exact same dimensions of the screen. The Z Fold 5 does come with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, whereas Z Fold 4 has the Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1. As you saw on the speed test, it doesn't really mean that much in the day-to-day performance when navigating the phone, but I do think that it helps make some improvement to the Z Fold 5 when it comes to battery life and when you're taking photos with the phone. Even though they actually have the same size battery, the Z Fold 5 is able to last me an entire day without problems. That's with mixed usage of both the cover display and the inner display here. Whereas with the Z Fold 4, I often have to charge it when I get home from work in the afternoon. It's definitely an improvement, and the only reason behind this is the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, that's a lot more efficient compared to the Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1. As you can see, the cameras, they have the exact same specs. There shouldn't really be that much of a difference, but let's look at some photos I took with the phones earlier today. Okay, let's start with this picture of one of the roses outside. I think the color accuracy of the Z Fold 5 is better than the one on the Z Fold 4. I actually do think that the Z Fold 4 looks more vibrant than the Z Fold 5 here. Pretty similar. Then this is taken with the selfie camera. I think that the Z Fold 5 is able to keep some more details of my face and my hair compared to the Z Fold 4. And it also doesn't give my hair the same reddish look, and also my face doesn't look as reddish on the Z Fold 5 as it does on the Z Fold 4. This is taken with the main camera. It's much better on both of the phones, but once again, I think the Z Fold 4, I don't know if it's called it's overexposing or something, but it's definitely a lot more bright and vibrant compared to the Z Fold 5. It looks a bit more natural. So yeah, it depends on what kind of look you prefer. For me, I prefer the more natural look to this very bright look on the Z Fold 4. And this is taken with the inner display camera. It's really not good, taking pictures with the inner display here. So yeah, it's mainly for video calling. This is a photo I took of my dog, and I think that the Z Fold 5 is able to keep a more natural look, and it's able to reproduce the colors more accurately than the Z Fold 4 does, but both photos look just fine. This is the 3x optical zoom on both of the phones. I don't really notice that much of a difference between the two phones here on this photo, I must say. And yeah, this is also taken with the main camera. I can't really notice that big of a difference. This photo of a tree I took earlier shows that I think the Z Fold 5 keeps some more detail in the photos when you zoom in compared to the Z Fold 4. It looks a bit more blurry when you zoom in on the tree on the Z Fold 4 than it does on the Z Fold 5 here. So if you like to zoom in to your photos, the Z Fold 5 does have more detail compared to the Z Fold 4. The phones does have pretty similar cameras, and in daylight you don't really notice that big of a difference. The biggest difference I've noticed is the fact that the Z Fold 5 does keep a lot more detail in photos when zooming in, and I don't have this reddish tint to my skin color or my hair color on the Z Fold 5, and I do have that on the Z Fold 4, so that's a big improvement for me. Let's see if there's a difference in shutter lag between the two phones. And I definitely notice a bit of a difference. I think the Z Fold 5 is more instant when I'm taking a photo. That could also mean that I more often experience motion blur with the Z Fold 4 compared to the Z Fold 5. So that's also a good improvement on the Z Fold 5 compared to the Z Fold 4. Another difference between these two phones is the S Pen that comes with the cases. On the Z Fold 4 you could buy this S Pen case, and the Z Fold 5 you can buy this. Let's take the pens out. Got this clicking mechanism on the new one, whereas on the old one you just slide it out. Looking at the two S Pens, you can definitely notice a difference. The old one of the 4 here is a lot bigger and bulkier than the one on the Z Fold 5. But I will say, however, that the one on the Z Fold 4 is a lot more comfortable to use in the long run compared to the Z Fold 5. The Z Fold 4 also has a pen that is retractable, so you don't accidentally scratch up the screen when writing with the pen, whereas on the S Pen of the Z Fold 5 you don't have this retractable tip anymore. None of these pen works on the outer display of any of the phones, so you have to open them up and use the inner display if you want to use these S Pens. Now, writing with the S Pen on the Z Fold 4 is very smooth, and it's also very smooth on the Z Fold 5. I don't really notice any difference in latency between the two devices. You can also use the S Pen from the Z Fold 4 on the Z Fold 5 and vice versa. So that's a very nice feature to have. So yeah, I actually prefer this S Pen of the Z Fold 4, but one thing I do prefer on this S Pen is the case. The two cases are very different from one another. The case on the Z Fold 4 makes the phone a lot bulkier than the one on the Z Fold 5. I think the pen case on the Z Fold 5 is a lot more comfortable to use than the one on the Z Fold 4, because it makes the phone much bulkier. One thing this case has that the Z Fold 5 case doesn't is that you can just pop this off and then you can put it in a stand instead if you want to switch it up, and then you can just keep this in your bag or yeah, just leave it at home. So that's definitely an advantage of the Z Fold 4 case compared to the Z Fold 5. But this is just so bulky to carry around, and most often when I take my Z Fold 4 with me, I end up taking this S Pen off the case and just put it in my bag. But that also means I don't use the S Pen as often on the Z Fold 4 as I do on the Z Fold 5, since it's just in the case, and it's much more sleek. Now the cases do feel pretty similar in the materials used, so that's very nice, and it definitely gives the phone a better grip. When it comes to navigating the phones, they work the exact same way. They both have this little navigation bar down on the bottom part of the screen, but if you notice, the Z Fold 4 does not have as many apps down in this navigation bar as the Z Fold 5 does. In fact, the Z Fold 5 has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, whereas the Z Fold 4 only has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you get 2 more apps on the Z Fold 5 compared to the Z Fold 4. This is very useful when you're using the navigation bar to quickly switch between apps or opening them in split screen. So yeah, I think that's a very nice upgrade on the Z Fold 5 compared to the Z Fold 4. But when it comes to split screening, both of the phones look exactly the same. I can just show you here. Got this, and they look exactly the same, and you can do the exact same things. You can switch them around, and you can switch them side to side like this. So yeah, it's exactly the same. Also got the same edge panel on both of the phones, so it's also very easy to just press an app and put them into pop-up view here. So yeah, and then you can resize them and move them around as much as you please. They work essentially the same way. So you're not getting that much of an upgrade when it comes to navigating the phone. One thing I do miss on the Z Fold 5 is the ability to use this power button on the Z Fold 4 to swipe down, then get access to the quick panel and my notifications very quickly. The power button on the Z Fold 5 does not support this. It's a bummer because I really used that feature a lot on the Z Fold 4, and I actually thought it was going to be on the Z Fold 5, but at least I haven't found a way to activate it yet. So if you know any way to activate it, please let me know, because I really miss it on my Z Fold 5. When it comes to charging the phones, they both support 25 watt fast charging, if you can call it fast today. It's not really that fast, but they do. And they also they also charge up in the same amount of time, 1.5 hours, from 0 to 100%. They also both support wireless charging and reverse wireless charging, so they are exactly the same on those fronts as well. When it comes to the speakers, the Z Fold 5 does not have as many speaker grills down on the bottom here compared to the Z Fold 4. Let's make a sound test and find out. Let me know what you guys think about the sound quality on both of these phones. I think they sound pretty similar. Perhaps the Z Fold 5 is a bit louder than the Z Fold 4, but let me know what you guys think down in the comments. This was just a quick comparison between the Samsung Z Fold 4 and the Samsung Z Fold 5. Now, these phones do seem pretty similar, and I don't notice that big of the difference when it comes to performance in day-to-day life when using the phones, but I definitely do notice a big difference when it comes to holding the phone, because it's so much slimmer, and the new hinge mechanism also makes the phone less bulky. I really like this new hinge mechanism, both because it makes the phone slimmer, but also because it doesn't make this cracking sound when I'm opening and closing the phone. I also prefer the S Pen case on the Z Fold 5 compared to the Z Fold 4, because It's just much slimmer, as I showed you earlier, but I do think the S Pen on the Z Fold 4 is more comfortable to write with for longer periods of time. So yeah, should you upgrade if you have the Z Fold 4 to the Z Fold 5? For most people, I would say no. It's basically the same phone. There are only some minor differences, but they can be very important to some people. I do really like the improvement in battery life, especially the new hinge mechanism, and also the cameras have improved a bit, so they make the photos look a bit more natural, and yeah, I prefer that. Also, the screen brightness is another thing I really like about the Z Fold 5 because it makes it easier to see the phone when I'm outside. That's everything I had for you guys today. Thank you for watching the video. Please leave a like and subscribe. Make a comment down in the comment section if you have anything to add to my videos. I just want to wish you a very nice day or night depending on when you're watching this video. Mojn!